just about 5 months ago, we were talking with Madison College freshman Kaden Crockett about a national championship, and wouldn't you know it, we're in early May, and we're going to do it again. Kaden Crockett, along with Madison College esports head coach Joe Hansen, joining me here on this virtual chat, talking about a Super Smash Bros. Ultimate National title, a defense from the fall, and Kaden, let's just start right here. Congratulations to you and to Coach Joe on a second straight national title. If you could, how did this one maybe feel different when that moment came compared to the way it felt back in December?
It was a lot less about it was exciting that I won, but it was more of a relief compared to exciting that I won this thing. It was more like good, I continued to win kind of thing. I didn't lose.
Did you feel at any point during the postseason the pressure kind of set in of, hey, I'm the defending champion, also the number one seed? But yeah, I mean, you had three pretty close matches from the quarterfinals on to the title. So at any point did that pressure build up inside of you?
The one point where it probably did was the semifinals. And other than that, though, it was pretty relaxing, honestly.
Coach Joe, I'll have you jump in right now. What sort of things were you maybe doing and saying to Kaden? I'll just go after the quarterfinals. We'll talk about playing your teammate once again in a little bit, but maybe after we got through that moment, anything you did to help kind of maybe calm those nerves?
A lot of the kudos goes to Kaden. He is very knowledgeable in this game, and that goes to show just with the back-to-back championships alone. But the biggest thing that he and I spoke about in between matches, pretty much right after the previous round had completed, was just a game plan for moving forward. There were some familiar opponents that we were facing in the semifinals, and a couple of unfamiliar opponents coming up the other side of the bracket. So as we were looking towards the semifinals, we were also keeping a very close eye on what was about to happen on the other side, so that there was no surprises when, we stayed positive that we were going to go, and we were taking that semifinal round from Mott College's Derek, stopping his run short again. I hate to do it. Derek's a great player, but I'm rooting for Kaden every single matchup.
Now, Kaden, let's go back to the quarterfinals. You and your friend Baxter Beckwith, last time in the fall semester you met in the semifinals. This time around earlier in the quarters. Take me again through that dynamic. Again, I just envisioned you guys we'll just sit on the couch together and play. This time around. How did that go?
Actually, that would have been our plan, but they decided to stream on the NJC's channel. They wanted quarterfinals forward streamed on their channel, so that required us to play online despite us living a 5-minute drive from each other. But yeah, it felt pretty similar to last season. It's really hard for us to take each other seriously, but we still tried. It was pretty close still, but it's hard for us to stay the same character throughout an entire set since we know each other so well that it's not as serious,
Right. So it took 7 games, so to speak. You beat them 4-3. You get to the semifinals to take on, as Coach mentioned, Derek from Mott Community College in Michigan. That one also goes 7. You get to the championship against Jackson from Orange County College. Take me through that 6-game series with Jackson and what ultimately gave you the victory.
We're talking about the finals, right? Not the semifinals?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So I actually stayed up unreasonably late the night before. I couldn't sleep. I passed out a little early and then woke up around midnight or 1. And I ended up staying up for about 5 hours, just trying to have a solid game plan. And I knew about 2 of his characters beforehand, the main one being Pokemon Trainer. And I specifically picked a character that I know that Pokemon Trainer struggles with, which is Rob. And I'm super stubborn. I think Joe knows this. I think everyone on the team knows this. So I lost the first game I was like, oh, okay, I can still win. So I stayed Rob the second game, and I still lost. And in my mind, I still wanted to stay Rob just because like I wanted to prove to myself I could do it. But I switched just because I just really didn't want to lose. So I switched back to my one of my better characters, Fox, and just took it from there.
Let's jump again over to Coach Johansson and just look big picture a little bit. So this was the second semester of esports at Madison College. I know we talked earlier about some of the things that you were able to improve upon, but again, in your wildest imagination, did you ever think a second straight national championship?
To be honest, I mean, prior to the fall semester, Kaden and I did not know each other, and last semester was a huge shock when it actually happened, and this one was much of the same. It was a little bit more expected, but also the competition grew from the spring of 20 to the fall of 20. The person that won in the spring of 20 before the Wolfpack had even joined that league, that person was eliminated in like the round 3 of the playoffs. And the comments that they made to their coach essentially were that the competition has increased. So, we knew that things were going to get a little bit more difficult in terms of competition as these other colleges begin to attract recruits and get kids that are in high school playing right now. There's an incredible amount of kids in high school playing all of the games that we're playing. So we're definitely hoping to use Kaden's success not only to cheer him on in his collegiate esport career, but also to help the Wolfpack build this program from the ground up, because a lot of other colleges get assistance in some other ways. Some are public, some are private. There's different funding models for all of those, but we're in the constraints that we have, and we're going to make the best of it. And this has given us the publicity at the college as well that we've gained the support of college leadership, including the district board, to move forward with building out a room for these guys to go and play and compete and build that camaraderie, just like you would have a basketball court for your basketball team or a soccer pitch for those teams.
Now, we had talked a few weeks ago prior to the postseason. You knew you were going to have a good amount of players in this SSBU tournament. You ended up with 5, and it whittled down kind of over the course of those first 3 rounds to eventually just Kaden and Baxter again. But take me kind of through how you feel about that collective group and what they did throughout this semester and the postseason.
Yeah, this group actually really built their camaraderie as the season went along. It was a bunch of different. I think some of these folks knew each other from other like social circles and in just the scene and historically. And I think folks had to kind of work through rather, maybe some notions about one another that they already had going into this. And everyone came together at the end, and players were offering tons of support, not only to the 5 players from our team that made the playoffs, but to the one that was just like a razor's edge outside of the bracket. The one person that didn't make it into the playoffs took it like an absolute champ. Their goal is they didn't want any sympathy. They didn't want any well-wishing. They said, I'm going to use this and I'm making it next year. So they're going to build off it. And that attitude right there, it's the same attitude that Kaden has every time he goes into one of these matches. It's take no prisoners. I mean, that championship game, you can almost see the point where like the 5th monster kicked in on Kaden, and it just was automatic. Like everyone, if you haven't watched it, if you're hearing this, if you're listening, if you're watching, go to the NJCAAE Twitch, watch the finals at least. The game 7 in that is amazing. I won't spoil it for you, but it was it was over before you could have eaten the bagel. Like it was done, and that was all to Kaden's one-sided play. Really, pretty remarkable.
Well, we can certainly spoil the ending. We know Kaden came out on top, and once again, congratulations to Kaden Crockett and Coach Joe Hansen from Madison College Esports. Kaden, real quick, final question. What is your status going forward as the two-time defending national champion? Will there be, first of all, any summer competitions that maybe aren't necessarily affiliated, but will there be a third defense attempt coming up in fall of 2021?
I'm planning on it. Yeah. We're gonna have to see where I end up though, since I'm actually switching controllers over this summer, and I gotta adjust to that really fast if I want to keep up.
Okay. Well, again, congratulations and enjoy the moment. Not too many people can call themselves a two-time national champion.
Thank you.